This video goes out to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Department of Justice. Listen to me. I was the one that created the intellectual work that was used to create Facebook. It was ripped off from my house by Mark Zuckerberg, also known as Marcel Elliott Zuckerberg, in 2003. I asked for your help right after it happened, and you said you wouldn't do it. He said, wait till he uses it. He used it. I called you back again. I emailed you. You wouldn't do anything. You made millions and billions off it. There was a battle for the ownership of Facebook, using my intellectual work. And Mark Howitson called representing Mark Zuckerberg, and they argued with me, demanding that I give a statement that I gave that intellectual work to Mark. See, there's a reason for that. Because after Mark stole my intellectual work, he left Iowa, went back to Harvard, and started flashing to everybody and says, look, somebody gave me $1 billion plans. Looky here for a social site and more. So when they called me, demanding that I give them a statement, it was to go along with that lie. You see? Now, after they argued with me, they got me to say enough, they were able to piece it together, take it out of context, and with any other thing that Mark had recorded, the way Mark had recorded me in my home in 2003, I didn't know about, and make it look like I instructed him to use my intellectual work, and I gave it to him, and I instructed him to make it look like his work evolved into mine without anybody knowing. And I instructed him to create a new creation history so nobody would ever know. But that's not true. So after they used that recording, the case of the Supreme Court was not won. It was settled. Because those people that spent all of that money at the Supreme Court to sue Mark, that wanted a piece of the prize, right? They had no case. Because the person that originally created the intellectual work, that was me, they got a recording of me showing that I gave that to Mark. So they had absolutely no case. But Mark Zuckerberg, Mark Howitson, and Priscilla Chan had to figure out a way to cover their tracks. So what they did, and because don't think about this, what if they didn't give them a dime? What if they gave them nothing? Then those people could go after the Supreme Court hearing and they could say, well, you know, he got a recording of this guy. The guy that supposedly created it and, you know, said he gave it to him. Well, then the gig would have been up. People would have been coming to my home and asking questions. I would have been in the spotlight of the news, and then I would have told my side of the story, and then, well, everybody would know that Mark Zuckerberg's creation history was fake. So what they did was, they were settled. Every one of them got something. Quite a bit. And for doing so, they signed a non-disclosure, never to reveal the contents of the case. The case was sealed. A new creation history was created and told. And they went around and used the money that they made from the theft, the intellectual property theft and fraud, and they used that to buy up all the witnesses. Pay them off enough that they wouldn't say a word. Sign non-disclosures. But then, they didn't find them all. I was having a very hard time finding them because I kept on paying them off. Nobody wanted to speak. And then there was a state trooper from Iowa and his relative that was visiting from Texas. Now they were at my home when Mark Zuckerberg called, or Mark Howitson called, representing Mark Zuckerberg. And they listened into that phone call, and the one from Texas knew Mark through a friend. I managed to find that state trooper, and I asked him to be a witness. Now, being a state trooper, that would have been the honorable thing to do. But they were offered more money than winning the ultimate lottery. That's what James Smith told me, the state trooper. He said he was going to help me, but he had to. He had to take it. Couldn't turn it down. Well, a week later, the state trooper wound up dead. Shot in the line of duty. I don't know if his wife got it or if his brother still got his half or not. At that time, I was taking Mark Howitson up to the Supreme Court trying to disbar him. If anybody watching this video, maybe you do, maybe you're a judge, maybe you're an attorney, a federal attorney, maybe, you do a law show or some kind of TV show, a talk show, anything. If any of you have the power to unseal that record, open it up, for the world can see it, for I can see it, that means so much to me. And then we can lay it right in front of the Department of Justice, we can lay it right in front of the FBI. It'll be on the news, but they can't ignore it. Help me. Somebody, please, get off your ass and help me. Now, there's people out there that claim, well, Mark claims he's a philanthropist too, but I mean, come on now, let's get realistic. I mean, you can't rip somebody off and then give money away and say, hey, I'm a philanthropist, right? Of course, I don't know, maybe there's a lot of them out there like that. But there are people out there that claim they're philanthropists. Now, if you're out there and you see this, contact me. I'm from Central City, Iowa. My name is Lynn Shakespeare. Find me, help me, see what we can do. Now, this has gotten so, I've been trying to survive after Mark ripped me off. It was my life's work, so I devoted my life to it. So I put all of my time and effort in that. I left a security job that melted down currency for the Federal Mint. I turned down an opportunity of a lifetime of a position of being a security advisor for a foreign country just to get my intellectual work online, start the social site, help my friend, help support free clinics and shelters, help find a cure for neuromuscular diseases, give people with disabilities a chance at a better life where they have less barriers, right? So here's the problem with me. All of my time was devoted into that. Then I got sick. Now I'm one of those people. I'm one of those disabled people now. I have Emery-Dreifuss muscular dystrophy and Sjogren's. I barely paid into Social Security. I will never, ever, ever be able to draw from it. I can't get disability because by the time they diagnosed me, all my work credits were gone. My opportunities and what I can do, what's available for me, I'm about to be homeless. I've been fighting this for over 20 years trying to prove this, where the government should have got off, and the agencies could have got off their ass. So you need to understand that life's work I was depending on getting a return. Now you would think that if somebody made you a billionaire, you would have enough common sense, enough dignity to throw something back at the person for somebody like me who can afford to survive and live. But not Mark. Oh, no. And as my friend said, there was a witness to Mark being at my home. He said one of the shadiest people he's ever met. And I have to say that. I think that's true. One of the shadiest people I have ever met. I have never seen somebody lie so much. Hopefully that's not a New York thing. Somebody, please, get off your ass. Please. So what am I going to have to do? So, if I didn't say this before, my options are almost gone here. So I'm planning on committing suicide. But the question is, how am I going to do it? It's kind of interesting because, being involved with the government and that 9/11 cover-up, man, I learned so much stuff. So am I just going to go away quietly and leave a video like this and somebody sees it and say, oh, well, you know what, that's really sad. We should have done something. Oh, now we'll make it public. Or should I be one of those people that maybe uses some of that knowledge that I learned from all those government cover-ups? And, I don't really want to do that, though. But there's the thing. Either you got to do something really bad or you got to do something really good. Now, I'm working on a book. The book would get me noticed and it would expose Mark. But in the book, I'm writing about all that government stuff too. Nobody wants to know about. But everybody would want to know, but the government don't want anybody to know about it. So I've written like 250 pages so far, typed. That's quite a bit. That's a lot of disclosure. But I would bet by the time I finally get it done, if I am so able to, the government will probably try to take that away from me. So that could be money I could live off from. But they don't want people to know about what really happened at 9/11 or all that other stuff. But if they don't want anybody to know about it, then why doesn't the government just get off their ass and do the investigation and help me? Well, they've been not wanting to do the investigation because they're trying to protect plausible deniability. People like me that were involved with the government, we had to have a hands-off policy. So once something happens, and the FBI gets their attention, or the Department of Justice, or the local law, and as soon as the FBI finds out and they pull the file, whoa, hands off, stay away from him. That's their policy. That's why they won't help me. Because they know that if somebody snoops around, they're going to find out, oh, well, he had a connection to the government. So, since I know this, what I've been doing is, I've just been blabbing it all over the internet, everywhere. So the government was going around trying to take some of it down, but I blabbed it in so many places that it's become probably a full-time job for them trying to find it. Now, if you're a 9/11 victim or was affected by it, you really need to jump on this because look at that now. I'm one of the people that was involved in the cover-up, and I'm telling you. Isn't that pretty important? But I see a lot of 9/11 victims saying, oh, we lost so much. Oh, and I know you did, and you've been through so much. But what about the person that was trying to expose it, try to help you, and he lost his billion-dollar intellectual work? Somebody should be giving a damn about Me Too. And if I didn't mention this before, the friend that was paralyzed, the one I created the intellectual work for to help her, her name was Tiffany. She died on July 5th, 2007. Now pay attention to, I didn't say before, pay attention to that date. Because here's Mark, and around that time period, trying to get, he called and wanted me to give that statement so they could win that battle over the ownership of Facebook. And while that was happening, my friend died. I just can't believe how cold Mark Howitson, Chan, and Mark Zuckerberg are. It's just unbelievable. And I tell you, you guys, anybody really do a news story. He didn't just steal my intellectual work. He made recordings of me that I didn't even know about when he was at my home, and he copied me. Like he tried to copy my philosophy, he tried to copy the way I act, the way I talk, the way I dress, everything I said. But then after the hearing, where the settlement was done, have you noticed something about Mark Zuckerberg? He doesn't do that anymore. No. After he got full ownership, the fraud was done, right? Nobody's going to come back after him because his his lawyer and mentor says, "Hey, it's yours now, you can do whatever you want. We're making a new creation history, nobody's ever going to know." So then he's free from the fraud. See? He can be himself. Have you noticed that? Remember that when he said he's going to pay himself $1 a year? And he's got to donate to all these good causes. Oh, and the Chan Initiative, right? But you know what? Priscilla Chan was working at a hospital, and the hospital couldn't make its bills, and it was going down. And what's Mark do? Mark says, well, if you rename it to Zuckerberg Memorial, which it was another memorial hospital, well, then I'll give you money, but otherwise I won't. Remember that? So the true Mark Zuckerberg's showing up. Imagine if Mark wouldn't have robbed me. If he just would have used my work and paid me a percentage. He owed me 20 cents on every dollar. Think about how much that is, right? And even if Mark would have donated to those places like he was supposed to, I still would have used my percentage to help, because that's what I have done all my life. And I live a very simple, modest lifestyle. And I tell you what, I don't want to live a fancy lifestyle. You know, some of my exotic things I wanted to do in life was, go see a few places, drive a classic car, go to some car events with my mom, because we grew up doing that, going to some, outdoor events, see some sights. That's it. That's me. That's about exaggerating as it gets. But I've spent my life helping people. A lot more so when I got sick. Now that I'm healthing so good, I don't do much, But I mean, before I got sick, of course, Mark, too damn lazy and too, to do stuff like I did. But I wouldn't help people fix their cars. They bought the parts, I did the work. How about put a head gasket in a car for somebody? Why would somebody do that, right? That's what somebody always says, why would you do that? Why? Because without me, they couldn't go to work. Without me, they couldn't pay their bills. Without being the good person and doing that, they couldn't survive. Because I gave a damn. You know what? I was working at a janitorial job, and there was a girl there that was planning on hooking to get groceries. And I'm working. You know what I did? I got my paycheck, I cashed it, and went and bought her groceries. That's the kind of person I am. I was at a store one day. This is before I became so poor and penniless now. And there was a girl in a line, a young girl, just had a kid. She just, had a baby. And she's trying to buy clothes for her infant. And she doesn't have enough money. And she started crying. And I said, how much do you need? She said, I don't know. And I said, don't worry about it. I bought them. That's the kind of person I am. Please help me expose this. Please.